Hello, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to wherever you may be, or whatever time you may be watching this. Welcome to the 4th episode of the LVM podcast. My name is Rebecca Benny, and today I'll be talking about the day I found out about my mother's murder. So during this time period, it was during summer and it was August 30th. So just a little background before, I get into what actually happened the day of. I do want to talk about the night before. So every summer, my family always goes on fishing trips every weekend, specifically on Saturdays, because I guess that's just what we did. And so this was just like a regular Saturday. My mother worked pretty much every day except for she would just get one random day off out of the week out of her, like for her choosing which one she wanted. And so she never really went on the fishing trips with us. So this was specifically on a Saturday. We went out. It would be like a 1 to 2 hour drive. We would always go to the same spot and we would always stay overnight. Those are always the same things that we did. And basically, this specific night, we did not stay the whole night because I guess we weren't really catching that many fish. And we're just like, what's the point of staying? So we left around 2 or 3 in the morning. And by the time we got back home, it was already 4. So we arrived home at 4 o'clock and my dad and I, we walk in and we suddenly realize that she's not there. At first we didn't really think anything of it. I mean, we found it odd, but it's not like we had any type of doubt in our mind about like what could have happened. We were just talking amongst ourselves, like, where do you think she'd be? So my father, he thought, it's the end of the month and for every beginning of the month you need to do inventory. So he thought that she probably went early to start doing that. And we live in an apartment, so you have to go all the way downstairs to the laundry. So I thought she usually wakes up early in the morning to do that. So I thought she went down to do laundry. So that's what our thinking was. And plus, you don't really think about the worst case scenario when you're getting home early, usually from being up all night. So we weren't really thinking anything else. So basically it's already 4 hours later. It's around 8 o'clock. And just a little quick background. My father and I, during that time, we all worked under the same type of management as my mother did, but we all worked at different stores. So we knew pretty much all the people that worked there. And my dad gets a call from one of the supervisors and he knocks on my door saying that the supervisor called saying that she's missing. So it's already 8 in the morning. I'm already trying to get up. I'm just kind of in that stage of waking up. So I'm just confused. I'm like, okay. And then I'm just like, why the word missing? Even now thinking back on it, I really find it weird that they said that she was missing instead of something else. But, I mean, we can talk about that some other time. Either way, so I was confused. And, because I'm just maybe she went to church because, she goes to church on Sundays or she went to go see some of her friends or something. I wasn't really thinking that deep into it. Either way, it gets even weirder for me because I get a call from my manager. And he's like, are you working today? I'm just like, first of all, sir, you're the one that makes my schedule. You should know if I should be on the schedule or not. But I didn't say that. I said, no, I'm not working today. And he's like, okay. And then he asked me even a weirder question. He's like, did you find your mom? I'm like, what? I'm like, how do you even know that? Why are you even asking that question? But I'm just like, no. And then he was like, okay, and then just hung up. I'm just like, all right. Like, this all happened within like a span of less than 10 minutes. So it's still 8 in the morning, and I'm not a morning person, so I'm just very confused. Anyways, I have to get ready and whatnot. So my dad and I are finally on the way to the store. Now, unfortunately, at this time, I did not know. It's not that I didn't know how to drive, but I didn't really like drive that much to the point that I was comfortable to drive. So my dad had to drive on the way there. And a part of me wishes that I could have driven, only because, he was the one that was on the phone call. And, obviously he was stressing out more than I was. And on the way there, while he was on the phone, we did take the wrong exit, ended up in a whole different city. And, it was just kind of like worrying me because, he was stressing out. But either way, we did eventually, get back on the right way. And, after my dad finished the phone call with someone, I'm not sure who he's on the phone. I can't remember who he was talking to, maybe a family member. But either way, after that phone call, he just kept telling me and saying that he doesn't have a good feeling about it. Now, me on the other hand, I'm a very, like, calm person, I should say. Like, I don't really, like, it depends, like, on the situation. I usually just, like, take it easy rather than, like, reacting to it first. So I didn't really say much to my dad, but, at least I don't think I did. I just didn't want to make the situation worse or just try to stress him out even more by responding in the incorrect way. But during the drive, like, there, honestly, the whole time in my head, I just kept saying that, like, God wouldn't really do anything to us. And I just kept repeating that over and over again. I don't regret thinking that. I still believe in that anyways. But I kept repeating that, and to make myself feel more calm, I was just listening to music so I can just distract myself. But I know that my dad just kept, like, he just kept saying, like, his feelings and how he was, like, taking it in, which is perfectly fine. We all react to things differently. So eventually we arrive at the restaurant complex where her store is located. And as soon as you, like, start pulling up, you can just see the whole area surrounded in caution tape. Now, mind you, I did not even suspect anything. Nothing clicked in my head. I was just, like, sitting there just, like, I don't know what's going on. Like, looking back on it, like, I don't really know how. I think I was just in denial a little bit, so which is why I didn't really, like, pay mind to it. But either way, we arrive into the driveway. We can't really pull in because, it's blocked by the caution tape. A cop comes towards our car, and he asked, like, who we are. My dad answers, and, the answer that he gives the cop kind of, like, put me off. He said, my wife's inside. Now I'm just like, why? How do you know that? Considering, like, the information that we're giving that she's missing. Like, how do you know that she's in? Like, why give that answer? By the way, so moving forward from that, the cop was like, okay, that's fine. Okay, like, he tells us to pull around into the other parking lot so someone can speak to us. We pull up to the parking area eventually, and my dad parks in, and a lady walks over to us. She tells us that she's a detective, and she's the one taking care of everything. And then she asks how old I am. My dad says that I'm 17, so legally I'm under the age to, answer any questions or anything like that. So she's like, yeah, she can't really be questioned. So my dad steps out the vehicle, and luckily he leaves the window a little open so I can hear. I don't know if he did that. I don't think he did that on purpose, but luckily I could, hear what was going on. So it was kind of just like the basic questions of her asking him, like, who are we? Like, what's our relationship? Where we were last night, how was their relationship with each other, and, you know, just basic detective questions, just, you know, to make sure that, I guess, we weren't involved in anything. So after she's asking those questions, eventually we get to the point of her actually telling us what happened. So she doesn't really say what happened, but she does say that, you know, yes, I'm sorry to inform you that your wife has passed away, or something like that. I can't really remember, like, the way she said it. And, you know, my dad, you know, he takes a pause, and then, you know, I guess one of the first questions that he asks her, he's like, can we know how? And I believe she says it's by, I don't know if she says it's by a knife or that she was, like, stabbed several times. I can't really remember that either. You know, after I hear that, you know, I'm just, like, sitting in there. I'm just, like, I'm not really, it's kind of like, okay, yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised, I guess. It's kind of like, I guess this was coming, like, I was eventually going to find this out, or just, like, based on the events that were happening beforehand. And I think I was just kind of a little disappointed, you know. So anyways, after that, my dad opens the door and he's like, did you hear all of that? I'm like, yeah. So, you know, I guess after that he talks to a few other people. Now, the important thing to know that throughout this whole thing, there are other people there, like other coworkers, people under, like, management, all standing around, just staring at us. All right. It's like they're just trying to see some type of reaction out of me specifically. I just remember, like, while the detective was talking to my dad, I could, like, look over to my left and there would be some lady sitting in some red car just staring, like, directly at me, you know, trying to see what's going on. There's a tree in front of us. Two people are standing right next to the tree, just staring through the front window of the car, just looking at me, trying to see, like they're trying to, like, look into my mind or something. I'm just like, can I just be left alone? Or I don't know, just like, why all the eyes on me? After my dad, like, takes a break from talking to the other people around him, he opens the door and then he asks if I'm okay. I say yes, and then he repeatedly says over and over again, are you okay? Are you okay? Like, just talk to me. Tell me something. I just need to know, like, some type of reaction, or just cry. I'm just like, I'm fine. Like, you know, I just kept saying I'm fine. Like, you know, I don't know what you expect me to do right now. Well, obviously you expect me to cry, but I was not going to do that, especially when, like, 10 million people, well, okay, that's exaggerating. Like, you know, about 10, 20 people are just staring at me. So after he, like, keeps trying to get that out of me, eventually, you know, I do burst out in, like, a 10-minute cry. And then when I look up, I see people literally staring at me, and I just stop immediately, because I'm just like, I can't even have, like, 10 seconds of, like, peace to myself without people looking into my soul. So I have to immediately stop, and I just, like, push that away. And no, eventually, my other relatives do come to the scene. Like, the first, I guess, couple, like, the first pair of people come to the door where I'm sitting, and they hug me and say, blah, 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 sorry, you know, yada, yada, you know, all this and that. And then, I guess a closer aunt does come with my uncle, and, you know, they do hug me and all that. And I guess, like, when she came to hug me specifically, I did, like, have, like, a little breakdown, but then I got it together because, of course, people are still staring at me. So I'm just like, you know, forget this. And eventually I do have to get out the car to talk to other people, and I guess they just needed to distract me, and I'm like, might as well just distract myself rather than sitting in this car. So I do get out eventually. So I'm finally out the car, and I'm talking to other people. My family decides that it's a good time to go to Taco Bell, I guess. It's the morning, we haven't had anything to eat, and a distraction, because technically it was a distraction for them to move the body into the, I guess, the ambulance or wherever they were taking, or whatever transport they were taking her body through. And it was kind of annoying because one of my uncles, he likes to be like really involved and to put his nose into everything. So you see him like sitting with you like 1 second, and then he'll just go off like talking to police or like the detective, trying to get all the information. But at the same time, he still wouldn't like tell me or my dad whatever he was like talking about. So it just didn't really, it was just weird. But either way, we were just like sitting and eating there, just trying to like, I guess others were just trying to like distract us from that. I really don't even know what we were even talking about, just like random stuff. So yeah, things after that, after like Taco Bell and stuff, it was kind of a blur. Like I can't even remember what time it is at that point. I don't even remember if I stopped by, like if we went back to the apartment or not. I'm gonna just assume that we did, to just take like some, like a few things or something, and just recollect ourselves, like my father and I. Because I know that we have to go, well, since like my family is like from another country, so we obviously take death like in a different type of process, and plus, we're pretty religious, so we're gonna have like a pastor over for prayer and worship and all that other stuff. So I don't know what the actual term is, so I apologize for that. But we do go to our aunt and uncle's house because that's where everyone was going to meet for that. Honestly, I really didn't want to go, if I'm going to be honest, because I just wanted to be alone. I didn't really want to have another like set of 30 people staring at me, trying to get some type of reaction out of me. So when I first got there, I just remember like being with one of my like younger cousins who I'm pretty close with, and I don't even know what they even told him at the time. I don't think they really told him anything, because I don't know if they wanted him to know of the situation, especially at such a young age. But I just know that like I needed distraction, so luckily I had them to be with me at the time as a distraction, because I just remember people just staring at me the rest of that night. So then later that night, after like the whole prayer worship thing, luckily it was like Labor Day weekend, so I didn't have to go back into school, so I could just have time for myself, just to like be alone and not have to deal with other people. One thing to know about me is that it's very easy for me to sleep. Like I can force myself to sleep if I wanted to. So it was like kind of difficult for me to do that first, because you have all these thoughts in your mind. I didn't really cry or anything. It was just more of me just like laying in bed staring at the walls. And then eventually I had to force myself to just fall asleep, because I didn't want to like have random thoughts coming to my mind. So that's what I did. And yeah, that was pretty much that whole day, just like dealing with a lot of people staring at me, and initial denial at first, and not really, just like a lot of unexpected weird things happening. It was just a very, very weird day, and I'd have to say that most of it was a blur. Not really sure if I'm proud to say that, but yeah. Eventually, I'm going to talk about what else happened later in that week. going to school, breaking the news to other people, the funeral, the wake, other things like that, family things. If you would like to stick with me on this journey, really would appreciate it. And helping me with raising homicide awareness. Please subscribe and like this video if you would like to. If you're listening to this on a podcast platform, thank you so much. And I hope to see you guys next episode. Bye.